From 80s rock to contemporary Tuesday afternoons, a suddenly not so casual one at that. Welcome to the pilot episode of Betting the Bag with the Shark, the Gun, and the Philly Sharp. We're getting straight business. The first play, first pitch in 4 minutes. Guns picks. What's going on, brother?
Man, feeling good, feeling great on this beautiful Tuesday. We're running a little bit later than usual, but that's okay. We're going to give you the freshest picks of the night, and we have a special guest today. Don't have the dad, but we do have the Philly Sharp. What's going on, my man? How you feeling today?
I'm great, brother. Thanks for having me on. That was an electric opening. I had to laugh through the entire thing. Very good, very funny, good shit. I'm happy to be here, guys. MLB is a lot of fun to talk about.
Absolutely. We're excited to bring this to you guys. We're going to try to get on here as many days as possible, and we're not waiting around. First play for me, I talked about it briefly before, but the beauty of this type of discussion, we will go into much more detailed analysis. Playing the Miami Marlins at home, Lone Depot Park, very thematic to South Beach. Lone Depot here, guys, nailing it. But Sandy Alcantara coming home here, lackluster to open the season. 1-2, ERA over 5. Philly Sharp knows this probably better than I do. Contaminated by a road start at the Philadelphia Phillies. I believe 9 earned runs. So those numbers are very skewed by one awful outing. And if you really start to go through Sandy Alcantara, I should say, not Alcantara, all the Spanish people in the world are already just tilted listening to me. But if you go back to last year, he is consistently poor at Philadelphia. And you start to see trends within his divisional starts. Very good against Washington, mediocre situationally against the Mets, awful at Philly, home Philly good, Braves, home very good. And you start to really look at his in-season flow. He did lose the previous game. He just pitched last week at Atlanta. But key point, Miami was in complete control of that game. 4-0 in the 6th. Sandy imploded a little bit, left with a lead, and the bullpen completely blew the game, eventually lost 6-4 for Atlanta to cover the run line. Line gaps in division do make a lot of sense and tell a great story. That was Bryce Elder, same pitcher, -150. This opens up around -115, 120. Sharp steam on it. This is where you want to buy an absolute top-level front-end ace who has struggled to start the season. And as I mentioned, contaminated stuff. We're on it for 1 unit at -120. Guns picks, first play of the night. We're going to Fenway Park, Road Clubhouse. You say Kikuchi. I was just talking about Sandy in the division, consistency versus opponents. Kikuchi, consistency versus Boston, an official.
You say Kikuchi, I say Kukachi. Whatever you want to say about this one, I'm going to be rolling with Toronto against my team on this one. Money line, -115 F5 on this one. You know, I am Mr. F5, Mr. Worldwide. This is the only thing I play. I don't mess with bullpens. I only mess with starters. Now, Kikuchi is pitching for Toronto tonight. He's 4-1 in first 5 this season. He's only given up 1 runner or less in the last 4 out of his 5 starts. And that includes Tampa, New York Yankees, and the Chicago White Sox, all high-scoring teams. So he knows how to pitch against the best offenses, and that's what Boston has to bring to the table here. Now, Hawk is pitching for Boston this one. He is 4-1 in F5s this season, but he averages 2.4 runs per outing in first 5s this season. Now, here's the catch on this one. So I had to go back to my data, and going back to 2022, Boston is 115-4 in their last 20 games versus Toronto in first 5s. So that is not a stat that I want. They give out 3.65 runs per outing versus Toronto in first 5s, and they only put up 1.35 runs per game in the first 5 elements. So with all that being said, I'm just going to keep riding this trend till it crashes. Give me Toronto money line -115 first 5 as the first play of the night.
Yeah, and as you said, Kikuchi incredibly consistent in this spot, and I believe running a clean sheet in the campaign in terms of games won and lost. This guy has locked it in his I think 30-year-old season. Who knew he was that old? But good for him, playing well. Speaking of road starters from the AL East, Tyler Wells, 6'8", 260 righty, going on the road outside of the division in Kansas City. Philly Sharp, welcome to the broadcast. Official plays. Not Orlando, excuse me, Baltimore Orioles online and the team total over.
Yeah, I have a couple plays out, which I posted earlier, but that is one that I like. Yarborough's not been the same type of pitcher since he left Tampa Bay. I mean, if you look at some of those numbers, you might look and say he's had success against some of these guys in the O's lineup, but he's just has not been the same guy. He's basically a reliever that they're stretching out to start. He's gone about 4 innings over his last 2 games. Orioles smash lefties. I'm expecting the Orioles to get into the bullpen, which I'm not all that impressed with Kansas City's bullpen. Chapman is probably their best bullpen piece, but I mean, he's not coming in unless they're winning. And I really don't expect that to happen. I even think it correlates to the Orioles team total over. You get all 9 at bats on the road. I just think there's an absolute chance for them to annihilate Yarborough and then take that into the bullpen. It's a good look. I looked at the lineup today, and I think it matches up well. And that's a line or a look I'm looking at for sure.
Yeah, and I think if you actually start to go look at the Orioles, of course, the Orioles are just a buy team without question. I mean, this team started to show signs last year midseason. We're incredibly undervalued as an underdog in most games. That has shifted, of course. Now they're laying reasonable prices even on the road, which they were not last year. But that is showing the strength that you want. And you see Tyler Wells on the road, 2 out-of-division starts. Impressive, 2-0 in those starts. Did open the season on the road at Texas, 2-0 win, 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Slightly more pedestrian at the White Sox, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, but nonetheless a run line cover there. I think this is just the efficiency of the lineup and the entire group. Not so much Wells necessarily pitching excellent tonight, but I do think this is a really sharp look. Next play, throwing it right back to Philly Sharp. Let's talk some Cubs baseball on the road. At the Washington Nationals, Hayden Wesnicki, the pride of Sam Houston State, if I am seeing this correctly, showing some trends on the road. 2-0 outside of the division on the road this year. Did pitch well on the road as well last year. Obviously, last night, Washington did not cover the run line. That, I think, is probably a trend that's going to sustain versus a Cubs team that is honestly highly, highly undervalued at their current win-loss, 15-13 at a plus 47 run differential. Philly, talk to me on this one.
Yeah, I think you and I had some alignment here. I mean, part of it too. Yeah, the Cubs actually have had some really good numbers against him. So, and Wesneski, if I remember correctly, Nationals haven't really seen him a lot, or maybe not at all. If I remember, it was very, very few guys that had at bats against him. The numbers definitely reflect a good, strong number towards the Cubs here. They were a little down against Miami. They came back. They had a good night last night. There's splits. If you look at the splits for the Nationals too, versus lefties and versus righties, they hit lefties way better. 290 team batting average versus lefties. They're into 230s against righties. I think, Wesneski might not be like Cy Young, but he's got enough stuff to play. His stuff is pretty good. And I do like this Cubs lineup. The Cubs have a veteran lineup. They have guys that have been there and done that, and they are starting to gel. They're 2 games over 500, if I remember correctly. And I do think they're a buy team. Yeah, there was a little bit of a dip in Miami, but some of that had more to do with they just didn't get some timely hits. They had guys on base. They just didn't get a big hit. They had a nice win last night, and I think it rides right over till tonight. I think it's a real good look to ride the Cubs.
Oh, I completely agree. And I mean, when I was seeing the lines that books were laying out early season for the Cubs, I hadn't gone through their offseason moves, but I mean, just looking at a bunch of their guys in their lineup, obviously noteworthy. Cody Bellinger coming over here.
Having a great year.
Yeah, Trey Mancini coming off the Astros championship team, of course. And, probably most importantly, Dansby Swanson, just an absolute fucking dog in the top of that lineup. So we love this group. And the last thing I'll say on this before I throw it to the gun for a second play, what I really liked about the Cubs was more so than just the pitching matchup. I don't love Trevor Williams for the Nationals as it is. I think he's very pedestrian. But I do think if you look at the Cubs on the road, how they function against these teams that are expected to be in the bottom probably 10% of the league, they are 5-1, and they are 5-1 against the run line too. And those were Cincinnati on the road twice, a sweep at Oakland, and then of course the cover last night at Washington. I think it's just where they function well. We see this in all sports. Certain teams just play well against the bottom feeders and really are not as competitive at the top. And that's what we're looking at here. So I'm on it officially for 1 unit at -141. Guns picks, we're going late night. We're going out west. Graham Ashcraft on the road at the Padres. Padres obviously coming off of 2 games at altitude in Mexico City. People thought they might let down. They did not last night. They came out and they hammered the Cincinnati Reds on the run line. Guns picks sees a reversal tonight. First 5 Cincinnati.
Listen, I'm going to be riding. I'm going to take a little bit of insurance on this one, taking plus half a run on this one, -104, first 5 on this one. Now, listen, I know Cincinnati's trash. I know they're 2-9 in first 5s on the road this season, but let's not put Ashcraft in that category. He's been absolutely solid for the Cincinnati Reds all season long. He's given up 1 run per first 5s this season. He's 3-0-2 as a starter in his first 5, and he has 1.17 whip. Now, when I look at him on the road, he has 2 outings on the road this season. He is 0-2 in that, so that still fits the plus half a run situation. This one, and that includes shutting out the Atlanta Braves and only giving up 2 runs to the red-hot Pittsburgh Pirates. So this is a guy that can pitch to the right competition, and he's going to be pitching against this Padre team that is won 7 out of their last 11, I believe. So I think it's going to be a good spot for him in the spot. Now, he's going against Walker. Walker used to play for the Boston Red Sox. He's been all over the board. He's played for the Cardinals. Now he's playing for the Padres on this one. He is 2-2-1 on the bump this season, 5 starts in first 5s. He has a 1.58 whip, and he's given up 3.2 runs per 5 innings, folks. And also got to look at San Diego versus right-handed pitching. They love to hit lefties. They don't like to hit righties on this one. They have a they're hitting their batting average is 0.254 batting average, 0.321 on base percentage, and 0.423 slugging. So that is not great numbers in terms of splits as they are versus lefties. I think Ashtraf, at the very least, gets him to the tie on the first 5s. Hell, maybe even give him to the win. You might want to split this bet on the money line as well, but I'm going to be taking a little bit of protection on this one, a little insurance. Give me Cincinnati plus half a run, minus 104 first 5 innings.
Yeah, I like that. Good analysis there. And taking my next play, we're talking NL Central yet again here. We're talking a buy low at the highest level, and I'm surprised to say this, but the St. Louis Cardinals this year have come out really, really poorly, far below expectations. This is not a team that's expected to win 100 games. I believe their team totals futures was right around 500. I think it was 81.5. But 10-19 is not trending towards 81.5. This is trending towards really bottom level stuff, but their run differential suggests otherwise. They're only minus 13. They've lost a lot of close games. And uncannily, somebody had mentioned this. I had looked at it, and I think it's worth pointing out. This team is 0-9 to start the season in the first game of a series. That is purely a mentality. And I think this matchup tonight will help shift them out of that mentality. And what that is the LA Angels outside of their division, outside of their league, on the road, specifically with Patrick Sandoval, who has a very inflated whip. And I always say getting away with murder. And with baseball, what that means is when you see a pitcher with a decent win-loss and decent flat statistics are the ones you see on SportsCenter. ERA, win-loss. They don't tell you the peripherals. How hard are these balls getting hit? What's their escape rate? How sustainable is their inning quotient, essentially? And this guy is getting away with murder, acing the Oakland Athletics, I believe, twice to blow up his numbers. And he is 1-8 in his last 9 starts outside of the division on the road. And if you look at Steven Matz is not that impressive. However, if you go through his home starts, he did. Is that music coming on here from my ads? It is. Apologies, guys.
Oh, sorry, guys. A nightclub.
This must be some play.
I was ready to just stop and get gone. We just saw Sandy Alcantara get out of a first inning jam. We love to see it. Thank you, Sandy. And but staying course with this, his last home start was Saturday, April 15th. He was solid, and that's what we're expecting tonight. Solid. He did lose in extra innings to Pittsburgh. And at that point in time, I don't think people had really anything to remark on Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh is running one of the hottest campaigns in this early going 23 season here. And I mean, if you look at Pittsburgh, they're nothing to scoff at. An extra inning loss is not bad. Go back to last year. Matz was 2-1 at home against the win-loss outside of the division at home, and more specifically versus the American League. 2 quality starts. He's going to pitch well tonight. Sandoval should not pitch well, and that's why this line is all over St. Louis. We talk about this in every sport. The line should tell you a story. It should make your eyes light up. When you see a team that is 9 games under 500, laying minus 130 to a team like the Angels who are hovering right around 500, what they're telling you here is that St. Louis is undervalued versus the long-term law of averages. They will improve. And LA is stationary where they're supposed to be, which is right around 500. It's all numerical. It's where you want to buy it. I'm on it tonight for minus 130. Guns picks final play on the West Coast. Yet again, we're living late night here. Matt Strahm on the road against Julio Urias and the Dodgers. Philly probably has some comments on this. Guns, throw it to Philly after this. As a fan, he can tell us what's going on with his team. Obviously, Bryce Harper returns tonight. Big stuff here for the NL champs. But Guns picks an official.
Yeah, I'm going to be going with Philly money line on this one, plus 134. First 5 on this one. Listen, I'm just looking at the pitching matchup. That's all I'm looking at here, folks. And Urias right now is kind of regressing as a pitcher, in my opinion, and giving up a lot more runs than he should be giving on this one. But I'm also looking at the splits between these two teams, and I'll explain that in a second. Let's talk about the pitching situation, though. Strom is pitching for Philly. He's 3-2 in first 5, but he has a .81 WHIP this season. But 3 of those were shutouts. So he had one bad outing. I think it was versus Cincinnati, giving up 8 runs. Just a terrible start, which is kind of driving his numbers all wonky. But like I said, he has 3 shutouts in first 5 situations this season out of 5. Now, Urias is 0-3 in his last 3 F5s. He has a 1.29 WHIP, including giving up 12 runs to the Chicago Cubs and 3 to Pitt in his last 2 starts in first 5 situations. Now, the important part in this cap on this one is Strom is a left-handed pitcher, and what LA Dodgers do not do well is hit lefties. They have a .174 team batting average, .282 on base percentage, and .344 slugging percentage versus lefties this season. So I think Strom's going to get it done. He's coming off a couple rough starts in this one. He's going to get. This could be one of those situations where he does get the shutout again. At least he's on point on this one. But I'm going to be riding with the better pitcher, the lefty, versus the team that can't hit lefties. Give me Philly money line plus 134 F5. What do you think about that play? Philly sharp.
Well, I mean, I actually align with you to some degree because one of my plays is Philly's full game money line plus 134. And this is, you guys know me and anybody's been following me. I'm a fan, but I'm not a homer, and I will not bet the Phillies just because they're the Phillies. In this case, I agree with everything that you said. The only reason I'm on full game is because I'm not afraid of the Phillies bullpen. So going back to Sunday night, right? They played Houston in Houston on Sunday Night Baseball. They flew to LA. They got shellacked yesterday. It was not a good spot for the Phillies. They get Harper back. Now, I don't anticipate Harper coming in midseason form, but certainly he's a guy they got to worry about. It adds a boost to that team, right? And then from the pitching standpoint, like you said, Strom has been really good. I didn't know what I was getting from him when he came over from the Red Sox. He was a reliever there. I was not sure that he could do this. He's been excellent. And the Dodgers don't hit lefties well. My thought is and your point to Urias is perfect. He struggled with the pitch clock this year. His ERA's inflated. He's definitely been getting hit around. I think the Phillies lineup 1 through 9 with the DH is a lineup that's very formidable. If the Phillies get 6, let's say, out of Strom, and then you go into the Phillies late end bullpen, you're talking Soto from the left that they got from the Tigers. He's 98-99. You got Alvarado, who's probably one of the best closers in all of baseball from the left-hand side. He's throwing 100. I mean, it's cheese. You got Kimbrel over 98 miles an hour. You got Sir Anthony Dominguez throwing 100. They got guys from the 7th inning on that can shut this team down. I think it sets up well. I think it's a great look at riding the Phillies at plus money. So I'm with you, dude. At first 5, full game, either way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. As you mentioned, Matt Strom, a bit of an unknown coming over here from the American League. Obviously with the National League before, but it is a transition regardless. And my final play, I'll keep it quick. I know Guns has to run. And somebody said pretty close to game time, we started a betting show. We're fully aware. We appreciate it, man.
We'll get in quicker. Trust me. This is an anomaly today. Don't worry about it. We'll be in a lot earlier next time. Trust me.
100%. We'll be doing this hopefully 6 o'clock at the latest, leading up to the 6:40 pitch time. But my final play, we're taking the Texas Rangers here at plus 118. This has gotten steamed towards the Diamondbacks. You get that now at plus 130 or higher. And this is purely because people are buying Zach Gallen as if he's never going to give up a run ever again. He has given up 0 earned runs in his last 27. He is running, honestly, the best campaign of any pitcher in the last month. But I do think if you go back to early season, 2 road starts at Dodgers, at San Diego, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 5 earned, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned before this 27 inning, 0 earned stretch. He is fallible. He will go the other direction. And I think if you really start to look at those other games that led up to this cluster, 3 home games, which is very specific, and 1 road game at Miami, who we all know is very spotty with the lineup. And you look at last year, one key point here, Zach Gallen was only favored once on the road last year at the American League. He was favored at the Kansas City Royals. He did lose the game outright. He pitched reasonably well, but he did lose the game outright. And I think if you look at John Gray on the other side of this game, John Gray is winless at home in his last 5 starts dating back to last year. This is all against the American League, mostly outside of the division. And this is all BVP type of stuff, batter versus pitcher. For whatever reason, guys outside of the division see him better. And somehow within his division, when he has more matchup analysis, he's more comfortable. He pitches better. And if you guys remember back when he pitched for the Rockies, he was very heady. Division, out of division, home, road. He was a weird guy. He's a smart guy. He's a thinking guy. So if you really get him where he functions well, he will pitch well. And what is that? Last year, he pitched very well outside of his league against the Phillies. Philly might remember this game last year. Philadelphia traveled down to Globe Life Field, and John Gray did pitch very well in a 4-2 victory for the Texas Rangers. I think that's where it goes tonight. L5 for this guy at home. This guy is not necessarily Sandy Alcantara, but he is an above average starter. Guys like this don't lose 5 consecutive home games. It's where they function well. And again, Zach Gallen running way too clean of a sheet. Final point in this game. If you look at run differential, Texas is 17-11, 6 over 500 at a nice looking plus 42 differential. The Diamondbacks are 3 over, only plus 5. So when you look at that point, Texas should sustain upward movement. Diamondbacks should be coming down, and they are. They were in first place. Dodgers just overtook them last night, finally, after a bit of a lackluster start for them. Should continue the same direction. My 4 top plays, Texas plus 118, St. Louis minus 130, Sandy Alcantara minus 121 unit, and alignment with the Philly Sharp, Cubs minus 141. Philly has the Orioles on the run line and the team total over. Guns picks first 5, Yusei Kikuchi in Fenway, Matt Strahm out west, and Graham Ashcraft also out west. Sharky Waters Nation Sports Wagering Network, Betting with the Bag. We're going to change that name because we love Jimmy the Bag and we didn't realize that it was his show name. So shout out to you, Jimmy. You're a legend. Can't wait to work with Dabby Cab on this show. Other people, maybe the great Fusini, maybe DFS Bachelor, other handicappers who cap baseball and love to discuss this beautiful product across the summer when it does dominate the market of the American sports scene. Guns picks, close them out with some words, and let's fucking go.
Philly, thanks for joining us. You'll be back as always. And, we'll have the Dabby in here. Of course, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are rough for him, but he'll be in there during the week. Listen, we want to make this a daily show, so please join us anytime that we come on here on the Sports Wagering Network. You can subscribe to the channel. Please do so at that. And like I said, we got to clean this show up a little bit. We'll clean the intros up. This was the test run. And, of course, we have to work on the name, just push that along just to get us going here. But thanks for everybody that's joined us today. Let's cash some tickets. And as always, let's keep dancing. Bang.
Night, guys.
See.